Hello dear Pathfinders, I'm Sebastian from CKSDA Pathfinders, and today we're going to talk about how to pack a backpack for a one-night campaign. Okay, so we're going to be packing for one night. So what does that mean? That we don't need to take much stuff. We just need to take things for only one night. So get a backpack that is not that big, because the bigger the backpack you get, then the more things you tend to put in. So the smaller you go, you can put less stuff, so that will force you just to go with essentials. Of course, don't get a too small of a bag, but at least get something between 32, 47 liters, but not more than that. For example, 70, 90 liters is too much. Go for something like around 45, for example, not lower than 30, not higher than 50, or not higher than 50 or 52, around there. So what things are we gonna take? Remember that you have to think on layers. And for example, here I have my first layer. We're talking about the camping that is going to be in winter or fall that is going to be cold. So I have my first layer for my upper body and my leggings. And I have, for example, the pant that I'm going to be using for walking. And also I have, for example, a second layer that I'm going to be using as well. So if I'm going to be dressed with this, that is good news, because this then doesn't need to go on the backpack. So whatever you're going to be dressed with that day, don't pack it, you just set it aside. So now what do we put in our backpack? Regarding clothes, what you want to put in your backpack is just the clothes that you're going to use at camping. So think it this way, to do it light, to go with less weight, think on the clothes that you're going to be using for walking, or like for doing stuff like pitching a tent, etc. But once you're settled on your camping bed, what are you going to use? And that's what you're going to use, for example, to sleeping or just to hang out. That's going to be your camping clothes. So for example, I'm going to be taking this as my camping clothes. It's going to be like a first and second layer, but it's much more thicker. It's like an intermediate layer, we could say. It's a first layer that is much more thicker, and this is what I'm going to use to stay on the camp, you know. And it's also the same that I'm going to be using for sleeping. So that's it. You just need two outfits. One for working and doing everything you need to do outside and walking. And that you're going to be sweating it, and then you get your camping clothes, the ones that you want to keep clean, and you're just going to use at camp. And so then on the next day when you need to go back, you just take your camping outfit, you put on the backpack, and you put back your walking outfit. So that way you can keep it lightweight. Also, it's very important that we need to fill the backpack starting from heavy to light. So if this is our backpack, you want to start putting the most heavy things here in the bottom, and then starting filling up. Also, another thing that you need to think is that, for example, your sleeping bag, they're the things that you less use while walking, and you just need it when you camp. And your sleeping pad, for example, and this one is an inflatable one, you can put them directly in the bottom, because they're not going to be used very often. So these are not the heaviest things, but they have their weight. So these things are the things I want to put bottom, and then we start filling with the most heaviest things that we have, and we end up going lighter. If we put too many heavy things here in the top, then when you put your backpack on the back, it's going to tend to pull you back, because it's too heavy. And especially if you're going through a terrain that it's not very stable, also you're going to be balancing much more. It's going to be much difficult to keep your balance. So remember, keep the weight, the most heavy weight, here on the bottom. Also, it's interesting that you have to make sure that whatever backpack you're going to use needs to have a waist belt. Why? Because when you put your backpack, once it's full, and maybe it's going to be very heavy, the weight of the backpack should not be here on the shoulders. the weight of the backpack should go here on the hips. So you should click this and tighten it up, so this is what your hips are, the ones who are carrying the weight of the backpack. So your shoulders should be completely free and all the weight here on the hips, on the waist. Okay, so let's start. What are we gonna do first? First, of course, I'm gonna be putting, in this case I will be using a 32-liter backpack, the one that I use for just one night. So I'm gonna put my sleeping bag, put it here. I'm gonna put my sleeping pad. There we go. And now you have to optimize your space. That's very, very important. You want to optimize your space. You don't want to put too much stuff, and whatever you put, fold it, put it in every single corner, every single space that you find. So for example, here I have my underwear and my socks, so I'm just gonna put them there in every single corner I need to make use of it. Then I'm gonna put my camping outfit. I'm gonna put it here. And then I'm gonna fill this other space with more clothes. For example, things like the first aid kit, it's something that you don't want to put in the bottom, because if something happens, you want this quick access. This should be at the top. Same thing with water. Not too top, because it's gonna put a lot of weight, but don't put it in an inaccessible part, because you're gonna need access to the water. Now, for example, if I'm gonna be taking a pot, let's say that we're gonna do a 1 meal pot with my unit. I'm in charge of taking the big pot, and remember, pot has space inside. You can fill it with a lot of stuff. So you can put the stove, for example, inside. I can put, for example, my cooking groceries that I'm gonna use. And that's something also useful that you can do. You can use Ziploc bags to put the food that you're gonna cook. So you just take the amount that it's needed. And also you can reuse this, and you don't need to be generating garbage and then taking care of that garbage during camping. So you can do that. You can put your salt here, whatever you need, and whatever else. For example, I here have hand sanitizer, and I can put, like, you know, my toothbrush, you know, and my cooking knife, my spork. There's the one that I'm going to be using for eating, and my floss, you know, and extra batteries for the headlamp. My multi-use tool, maybe not, maybe I want to have this handy, you know. I can take my rope, things like that. Or even you can put some clothes, for example, this gloves that maybe I'm not going to use them while walking, you know, and for example, a dry bag for electronics or something if it gets rainy and I don't want to get wet. And you can put all of that here. And then you just close it. Put it here in your backpack. Now I can put, for example, my down jacket and put some pressure on it. I can put my buff, my headlamp, my gloves, you know, and have my first aid kit here at the very beginning of the pack. And also, if you have more pockets, for example, I have pockets here on the side. You can put here, for example, the multi-tool if you're going to be using it. And for example, I want to take also, and we should all take our Bible, you know, and I take my Kindle, because here in my Kindle I have my devotionals and everything, Sabbath school lesson, etc. So I put everything here. You can take the Bible there, some rope. Just use all the space that you have, the best you can. But we can have our water here as well. There we go. And if you have a hand flashlight, even though they're nice, it's much better if you can use a headlamp, like the one that I put already here in the bag. Because with a headlamp, you just have it here on your forehead and you have your hands free. But if you're using a flashlight, you're always going to have a hand that is going to be useless to do stuff, because you have to be pointing light somewhere. So try to avoid hand flashlights. Take them just for fun if you have space, but make sure they take a headlamp. They're much more useful. And of course, very important, toilet paper always has to be handy in case of an emergency. If you need to go to the bathroom, you need to have it quickly. So now that my backpack is completely packed, now it's when I need to put it on my back and make sure that all the straps will be working well. So first thing that you want to do, you want to loose it up from here, these straps here. Even if it falls down, doesn't matter. And the first thing you want to do, you can lean forward and clip your waist belt. So you tie it up so it's tight enough that the whole weight of the backpack, it's on the hips, you see? And this is leaning back, of course, of this. So now comes the time, but you see my shoulders are not getting any weight. All the weight is on the hips. So now what you do, you take the straps, you just tighten them enough so the backpack just stays on your back. That's all. And as you see, I have the backpack is not putting the weight on my shoulders. And if you want to bring the backpack forward more to you, if it's leaning too much to the back, you see it's like falling too much to the back. You use these straps that are here on this side. Most of the backpacks have them. And you use that to bring your backpack closer to you. You see, so this is even lifting up the strap. So I have no weight on my shoulders at all. All the weights, it's here on the waist belt. And of course, then you have this, that you can use it to keep the straps here, and so they won't open and the backpack won't fall. So this is how you really pack a backpack and how you put a backpack and how you use it. So the weight is always going to be here. You're never going to get tired with your shoulders or your neck, or your back, because all the weight is going to be here at the hips. Okay, so we learned how to pack light, how to pack a backpack, and how to use it comfortably on ourselves while walking. So remember, the more you camp, the more experience you will gain, and you will know next time what to take or what not to take. So just practice at home, start putting things on your backpack, and make sure that everything will fit. So you will know if you need a bigger backpack or a smaller backpack. But remember, just take the essentials, don't take extras, and you will learn by experience after every camping what to take and what not.